So I'm guessing that the reason you've clicked on this video is because, like me, you have this insane ability to know everything you need to do, have all the tools to complete those tasks, and then just completely procrastinate for the entire day and get nothing done. If that is you, then you are in the right place. Binks is just making a little, on the windowsill, making a little appearance here. She'll probably be jumping in and out, so I apologise in advance for any sort of cat-based activities in the background. This morning, I woke up and I had the best intentions. I was ready for the day. I got myself up early, I had a shower, I did my hair and my makeup, I had a healthy breakfast, who even am I? And then I just sort of hit a brick wall. My brain just said, not today, Satan. No. Instead of working and doing everything we need to get done, we are going to procrastinate. It is now 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I have finally got my arse up, got myself ready, sat in front of the camera, and I'm here talking to you guys. And that is because I have actually found a way, or several ways to be honest, to beat my procrastination, to overcome it, to fight it, to be the winner, to not let it control me. So I thought, what better video to film today than a video on procrastination, why we do it, what are the main causes behind it, and the best ways to prevent it from happening. So why do we procrastinate? Well, contrary to popular belief, it's actually nothing to do with laziness. I think, myself included, but a lot of people kind of think that it's just because you're lazy. Oh, the reason you've sat on the sofa all day is just because you're lazy. Actually, no, it's not. It is a lot more emotional. It is a lot more to do with the way that our brains work. So procrastination is actually our brain's short-term response to a negative emotion. When we procrastinate, we are choosing short-term relief over long-term satisfaction. So now I want to explore the main reasons for why we procrastinate. And this is not an exhaustive list. This is just sort of the main 5 emotions and the main 5 feelings that we have that cause us to do this. So the first one, and I'm not going to say my personal favourite, but I'm going to say the one that resonates the most with me, is perfectionism. Being a perfectionist is the main reason that I procrastinate. And I've actually only just sort of learnt this. I've been doing, as you guys know, a lot of personal growth, a lot of learning about myself, and I have realised how much being a perfectionist actually negatively impacts my life. So let's go through some examples, because this again is actually one of my New Year's resolutions. I'm trying to not be a perfectionist. I'm trying to just get things done. So for example, I have a photo. You know, you've been there, you've taken a photo, you want to put it on Instagram, you think it looks good, you know, you think you look nice. So you're getting ready, you're writing the caption, maybe putting some hashtags in there. And then you start to look at the photo, and then you start to really look at the photo. And instead of just pressing that share button, just pressing it, share the photo, post it, you start to procrastinate. You start to think, what if that caption's not good enough? Oh, I'll just move around these hashtags. Oh, maybe I should just put a different filter on it. Actually, maybe I just shouldn't post it at all. I'll post it tomorrow. Why? Why do we do that? We do that because of the fear that it is not good enough, because it's not perfect. What if this caption isn't perfect? What if this photo isn't perfect? You know, what if people have a negative reaction to this? What if people look at the photo and think, I don't like her makeup. Well, her hair doesn't look great. That filter's not really right. That's why we do it. Because of that fear of a negative reaction. And again, it's perfectionism. It is because we want everything to be absolutely perfect before we do it. And the way that I'm sort of overcoming this, and it is a journey again, I was going to say I'm not perfect, but I don't want to be perfect. You know what I'm trying to say. But I'm trying to say to myself, so what? So what? So the picture's not perfect. So what? The filter might not be perfect. So what? It doesn't matter. You have still achieved something. Even if it's something as simple as posting a photo on Instagram, this just helps me to take all that anxiety away, because I don't have the pressure of needing to be perfect anymore, which actually means I get so much more done because I don't have to keep tweaking and putting it off until it's perfect. No, I just get it done. As long as I'm happy with it, as long as I think it is serving a purpose, I will post it now. So you may notice some more questionable posts on my Instagram, but at least I posted. Now, a quote that I find amazing, you know I love a good quote, is progress over perfection. And it's literally what I've just said. Posting something, even if it's not perfect, is better than posting nothing at all. Or doing the job, even if it's not perfect, is better than not doing it at all. This is a really difficult one for me because as a child, I was always taught if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well. Now, I do agree with that. Yes, it is worth doing well, but it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you are moving forward, as long as you are making progress, you don't have to be sprinting. It doesn't matter if you're crawling, you are still moving forward. Okay, on to reason number 2. And these necklaces are driving me mad. You'll know that I don't normally wear too much jewellery, and I'm trying to wear a little bit more jewellery recently, and I'm not quite used to it. So on to number 2, like I said, fear of failure. This is another massive reason why we procrastinate, and it is also very closely linked to perfectionism. Now, I want you to think about something that you are really afraid of. It might be heights, it might be spiders, it might be clowns, it might be something completely random. But if you think about that thing, when you tend to fear something, you tend to try and stay as far away from it as physically possible. If I was afraid of spiders, I'm not going to go and put myself in a situation where there are millions of spiders, because that would just be absolutely lunacy. But the same principle applies when we have a task that we're afraid of doing. Our brain, because it is hardwired to keep us safe, keeps us as far away from that task as possible. If we're afraid of doing something, our brain will make us procrastinate for as long as it physically can, because it thinks it's keeping us safe. So how do we overcome this fear of failure creating procrastination in our lives? Well, to overcome a fear, you have to remove the fear itself. Now, I'm not saying remove all the spiders. What I'm saying is take the power away from the spiders. Now, this sounds kind of confusing, but if you are afraid of something, you give it power. You must have seen it in horror films before, when the ghosts get stronger when the people are scared. If you take that fear, you take its power. Because if you're no longer afraid of something, it won't bother you. Like me personally, I'm not afraid of spiders at all. In fact, I actually picked up quite a big one this morning in my hands, carried it and put it outside. Is that because it's any less dangerous to me than it is to somebody that's afraid of spiders? No, but it's because I don't fear it, so it doesn't have any power over me. And like I said, if you can remove the fear, you're removing all of those negative emotions that your brain has associated with that task. So then all you're left with is the positive emotions of accomplishment, of feeling brave, of feeling proud of yourself that you actually tried. So what that you failed? You tried? All right, you didn't accomplish it completely, but you were there and you were present and you did it. So remove that fear itself, use that so what mindset, and completely eradicate the fear of failure. Okay, number 3, lack of motivation. And my God, have I been here so many times, I couldn't even count. So when demotivating and hindering factors outweigh our motivation and our self-control, we tend to procrastinate. You know, when you feel so disheartened or so intimidated about a task, about something that you've got to do, that it feels like nothing in the world could make you get up and do it. You know, when you're laying on the sofa and no matter how many times you try and tell your brain, right, come on, we're going to do this. We're going to get up. After this episode, I'm going to stop watching and tidy my room. You know, after I've listened to this song, then I'm going to get up and do the washing up. And then you find yourself 4 more songs deep or 4 more episodes deep and you're still sat there. When you find yourself in that situation, try this technique. This is kind of blackmail, okay? And ordinarily, I do not condone blackmail at all. That's not what I'm saying. But when it comes to blackmailing your own brain for like the greater good, it always makes me think of that Hot Fuzz scene where they would chant the greater good. But when it comes to blackmailing your own brain to make your life better, I'll make an exception. So we're going to use the 15-minute rule. This is something that I've been trying to put in place recently, and my God, I love it. What we're going to do to your brain is we are going to lie to it. And you will know that you're lying, but it doesn't matter, it still works. You're going to say to your brain, if you have a huge task, like, I don't know, clean the whole house, you are going to set a timer for 15 minutes. And you're going to tell your brain, I'm only going to clean for 15 minutes. That's all I've got to do. I've not got to clean the whole house. I've just got to clean for 15 minutes. And your brain will be like, okay, yeah, that's not that hard. I can do 15 minutes, you know, not that long. You set your timer and off you go. And I guarantee you that once you get started, your brain will start to think, well, I've done these 15 minutes now, but I've just noticed that over there, so I'll just go and do that. Or let me just pick this up. Let me just put a wash on. And before you know it, it's sort of like a snowball effect. And you're already into cleaning the whole house. But because you presented this to your brain as just a tiny little easy task, let's just clean for 15 minutes, rather than this big, overwhelming, oh my God, I've got to clean the whole house, your brain doesn't go into panic mode. It doesn't try and protect you because it's just an easy 15 minutes. Before you know it, you probably will have cleaned the whole house. But even if you don't, even if you do manage just to do 15 minutes of cleaning, it's 15 minutes more than you'd managed to do before you set the timer. Okay, reason number 4, stress. Good God, we all hate stress. It's the biggest killer. It is horrific. I have the definition here. Stress is defined as any amount of mental strain that's caused by internal or external factors. Everybody in the world is stressed. We're all stressed. We all experience it. It is not a fun time. And this is often a vicious circle with procrastination because you feel stressed, therefore you procrastinate. Because you've procrastinated and not got anything done, you feel stressed again. Then because you feel stressed, you procrastinate, and we go on and on and on, and it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's just perpetual stress and procrastination over and over and over. So to overcome stress-based procrastination, we first have to identify what it is that is stressing us out. Now, I know that sounds kind of stupid because most of you are probably thinking, well, it's the whole thing. It's the whole task. Actually, it's often not the whole task. So let's take something that used to stress the life out of me. Food shopping, okay? Food shopping used to stress me out to the point where I have been known to be in the middle of a food shop, in the middle of a supermarket with half a trolley's worth of shopping and get that stressed out that I will just put the trolley to the side and walk out and leave because I just feel so overwhelmed. When I started breaking this down, rather than saying food shopping stresses me out, no, actually it doesn't, because driving to the shop doesn't stress you out. Writing the shopping list before you go doesn't stress you out. Getting out of the car and getting a trolley doesn't stress you out. So the bit that was stressing me out was when aisles became super busy and you end up with that gridlock and people are bashing their trolleys into other people when it was causing chaos, and it just used to make me feel so anxious and overwhelmed. So actually there I'd identified that it wasn't the whole food shop. It was just one small part of it. It was when it was really, really busy and I had loads of people in my personal space. That's what made me feel stressed. So then it became a lot easier to fix the problem. Okay, I get really overwhelmed when it's busy. So I'll make sure that I go food shopping at 1:30 on a Tuesday afternoon when it's really quiet. And all of a sudden, food shopping did not seem so stressful, to the point where I actually really, really enjoy it now. Yes, sometimes I still get stressed if I have to nip in when it's busy, but being able to identify which part of the task it was that was stressing me out made it a lot more manageable, because then instead of having to solve this huge, massive problem, I just had to fix a tiny little problem and I was no longer stressed about the task. Just a little side note, if there are several things about a task that are stressing you out, the best way I find to deal with it is to write them all down and start with the hardest. It sounds counterproductive, but if you get that hardest one done first, it is plain sailing. Subconsciously, you will then think, well, I've done the hardest thing now, I can definitely do the rest. It's like if somebody told you to jump this high and you managed to do it, then they said, oh, you've only got to jump this high. You'd think, well, that's easy, I can do that, no problem. So break it down. Start with the hardest task first. Get it done, and it will convince your brain that everything else is easy peasy lemons. Okay, so finally, reason number 5. I've just noticed how dark it's getting outside. Have I been talking for that long? I probably have. I just go on a tangent, okay? If you've watched me, if you're friends with me in real life, you'll know. I love a tangent. It's the ADHD in me. But we are on to the final point, and that is, ironically enough, distraction. Distraction is such a big part of procrastination, and boy, is this more prevalent than ever in this day and age, with smartphones, with everything being instant, with PlayStations, with Netflix, with everything that you've got going on. It is so easy to become distracted and therefore to procrastinate things that you really need to do. So first of all, like I just said, distractions are absolutely everywhere in this day and age. You cannot turn a corner without seeing a distraction. Unless you're going to put yourself in a field, on a hill, on your own, you are really going to struggle to completely eliminate distractions. So because we can't completely eliminate them, we need to learn how to reduce them. So some really simple ways that I've found help reduce distractions. Sounds so counterproductive, but stay with me, they work, okay? So TikTok. If you've got TikTok, you know about doom scrolling. You can spend hours and hours on it. A way that I've found helps me is to have like an allocated TikTok time. So to say to myself, right, you've got 15 minutes. You've not got to do anything else. You've not got to do any work. You just sit there and scroll through TikTok, just completely brain dead scrolling. You're not going to do anything else for 15 minutes. Just allocate that time completely to that distraction. But then as soon as that timer goes off, as soon as you hear that, you have to stop. The phone goes down and we get on with what we're doing. If I say to myself, okay, phone is away for 2 hours, I'm going to work solidly for 2 hours, But once I've done those 2 hours, then I can spend 15 minutes doom scrolling on TikTok and not feeling guilty about it. My brain will be like, okay, yeah, that's a fair trade-off. I'll do it. But that does mean that whilst you are in work mode, you cannot have any distractions. Your phone should be out the room unless you need it for work. It means that I won't have a program on in the background while I'm working. You know, I won't have the TV on, because that's another thing that I used to do, would be sat there on my laptop. I'm doing great. And then I just glance over. I'm watching The Office US, even though I've seen it 57 times over. And then this sort of side eye turns into a whole turning towards the TV. Next thing you know, it's 45 minutes later, I've procrastinated, I've watched 2 episodes that I've already seen, and I've got no work done. So like I said, identify those distractions and use them as a reward. Another incredible thing that I've been using this year as another one of my New Year's resolutions is do not disturb mode on my phone. My God, why have I not used this before? So on an iPhone, you can make your own focus modes, I think they're called. I've got one called work. I absolutely love it. The only people I allow phone calls from is my mom, my dad, my sister, and my other half, and that is it. Because anybody else can wait for an hour. If it's not an emergency from an immediate family member, it can wait. And it's just the best because you don't have that Pavlov's dog theory of hearing your phone go off and feeling like you instantly need to check it. So if you can set a do not disturb mode on your phone, try it. It is life-changing. So I know that I've rambled on for probably a good half an hour, maybe even longer, but I didn't want to procrastinate with any of these points. You see what I did there? I wanted to get all of the information that I could into this video. So hopefully that has helped you understand not only why you procrastinate, but also how you can prevent that. If you've got any more questions, please leave them in the comments below. You guys know that I love talking to you. I love hearing your opinion on things. If you haven't already, I would love it if you click the subscribe button and joined our family. Join this personal growth journey with me, because like I always say, I'm absolutely far from perfect. Sometimes I have absolutely no idea what's going on, but I will try and help you guys as much as I physically can. I love and appreciate you all. I hope you're having the best day, and I will see you in my next video.